In this video I'm going to talk about configuring an FX731 15 input, 15 output, 24 volt digital I/O card. So I'm going to select this menu item, and this would list all of the cards that you have configured. So I'm going to select new. I'm just going to name it FX-1, and now I'm going to select settings. Each card has a serial number. That serial number is 8 characters, and if it has leading zeros, the leading zeros must be there. And each card does have a unique serial number, so you can distinguish between them. Since I don't know the serial number of the card that is currently plugged in, I can select this button, and it lists all of the cards that are currently plugged into the USB ports. And at the moment there's only one plugged in. So I'm going to double click on this or select OK. And now this is the card serial number, and we can test it to see if we have it by selecting this button here. And these are the inputs and these are the outputs. And the inputs are red when they're on and green when they're off. So I'm going to turn on input number 2. Yeah, so we have the right card. And the outputs, if you want to force on the outputs, you have to enable them first, and it tells you that do you really want to do this, that it may cause problems. If you say yes, then these become enabled, and you can check or uncheck the output. Select OK. The inputs go into the input registers, and the outputs are controlled via the output registers. So the default is the coil input address 10001, which is the very first one, and then the subsequent addresses. This could be 1005. You can set these to whatever values you want, but you don't need the 100. You just need the number of the address. So we could set this one to 8, and this one to 34, and this one to 67, whatever input register you want to use. Or you can set this register to example for 3 and then say populate, and it'll ask you, do you want to populate the remaining registers, and it reads the first one and then adds 1 and just populates all of them. So as you see there, it says 3 to 17. If you set this to 888 and said populate, that's what it would do for those. Just an easier way to fill in the registers. Outputs work the exact same way. They're coils. If you put in 777 and said populate, say yes, those would be the coils. So it's really 000777 is the actual address. But for now, we'll just leave them as the first 15 inputs and the first 15 outputs. If you had another card, you would just select new, enter a name, and then you would have another card, and you could select its card and do the exact same thing. You could actually have the same card going to 2 addresses. I don't know why you would do that, but you could do that if you needed to. So I'm just going to delete this port. And just as a demonstration, we did set this up as 1. So we say OK. And whenever you make changes to these ports, these Modbus master ports or these slavers or FX731 ports, you need to reload the I/O ports, because changes, for example, to the baud rate for a serial port don't take effect until the port is loaded. So you just say reload I/O ports and select yes, and now the ports are reloaded with whatever data you configured them to use. So just for demonstration, we're going to go to register data, and we're going to monitor the input registers where we configured these first 15 are from that FX731 card. So I'm going to turn on channel 3, and then we see this change to reflect the switch. Now I'm going to change channel 1. Okay, so we know the card is working.